Andrew Renzi, your documentary Ready for War is a really shocking and important documentary. Could you tell me kind of the issues laid out in this film?
Yeah, I mean, Ready for War explores the phenomenon of deporting United States veterans, green card immigrants that come to the United States and they serve in the military. And when they come home from that service, they'll lose their way one way or the other, and then they'll end up being deported rather than being rehabilitated, which is sort of the practice for veterans that are native born. So the movie kind of explores what happens to three specific people that are in different stages of this thing that happens, and then the next sort of peeling back that layer of the onion is that oftentimes these veterans, because of their military service, are targeted by the cartels in Mexico because they're trained soldiers.
Heavy stuff. And so it was kind of like Laws of the Book from '96 that you showed in this documentary. So kind of like, I was just wondering, what is your message to former and current government officials from this piece of work?
I think my message is that the conversation about immigration is very loud and it's complicated and it's difficult and it's confusing. But this specific conversation around immigration should not be confusing, and it should not be part of it should just be veterans that serve honorably in the military should be citizens in the United States of America, and they should not be deported. And that is something that I think we can all agree on. On the right, on the left, it is a bipartisan idea. I think it's a nonpartisan idea that's very easy to stick, And so that's my message, is that let's take a look at this very specific part of the larger immigration conversation that's existing, because the same effects are happening. All these people are being separated from their families. All these people are being punished unfairly for things that don't, for crimes that they've already been punished for. Mm-hmm. So that would be my big message, is that it's un-American to do this.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of break it down with your Trump supporters. You've got your far gods. You're never going to reach them. You'll never convince them of anything that Trump does or says isn't wonderful. But most people aren't like that.
Yeah.
Most people just wanted better jobs. But so for those people who are maybe not too far gone, what do you say? What is your appeal to those Republicans specifically?
Well, my appeal is that veterans are presumably some of our most coveted and prized members of our culture and society. They offer a service to our society that is that you can't repay them for, and everybody should be agreeing on that, especially Republicans. That there's a veteran sort of idea amongst the Republican community that veterans, we need to take care of our veterans. We have to support them. We have to take care of them. And this is a perfect example of a way that we're not doing that. And so the appeal is really that this is not an immigration issue to them. This is a veterans issue. This is an issue about doing right by people that have done right by us, and we're not doing that. And I think a lot of people end up seeing that and saying, oh, okay, so let's not classify this as this sort of broader thing that I'm confused about and I'm angry about. Let's actually put this in the context of something I already feel strongly about.
So it's not like a gateway thing for you. It's just an isolated piece of business that you'd like to see taken care of.
Well, I think for me, I have my own ideologies, and so for me, it definitely is a gateway thing. But I think that the practical person in me and the pragmatic person in me likes the idea that there's something specific that could change, and that this is something that could change, and that by way of that change, people might become a little bit more open-minded and a little bit more understanding of the idea that just because you've made mistakes, especially nonviolent mistakes, doesn't disqualify you from being a member of a society. It's a ludicrous concept in my opinion. And so I think that this is something that can open that up to a larger thing, but right now it's saying specific is smart just from a practical level.
Yeah, I see your incremental approach. So how did you become hip to this issue with the veterans?
Yeah, I was introduced to Hector Barajas by some colleagues of mine. Essentially, I was looking for other documentary stories to kind of dig into, and I always take a very journalistic approach to start, where it's let's figure this out, let's go meet the people, let's make sure this isn't an outlier issue, because that I think is very important to figure out. Is it's just a few people, and no, it's not. And so once I realized all of that, I started digging more. Went to Juarez, and that's when I understood that there's another layer of this onion to peel back, that the cartels are involved in this situation, that there is this Trojan horse into this movie that will be entertaining and will kind of draw people in to a bigger thing that I want to talk about.
Yeah, one thing that struck me was like, these veterans are working for the cartels. And do you really want veterans working with the cartels?
No, it's
you
like,
want to teach these guys how to teach other people how to assassinate people properly.
Yeah, it's
on
like
the
giving
southern
guns
border?
to the Taliban or
Yeah, right.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's the same idea of like arming an organization that we are presumably fighting against, and so it doesn't make sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I remember there's a bill in the Senate. I think it was the Don't Arm Terrorists bill.
Yeah.
That it can't pass. It can't pass.
This is not much different.
So, okay, do you believe that documentary, just the whole format, is really effective at humanizing certain people?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think now more than ever, there is the opportunity to tell stories. Now more than ever, there's people, every story is being told now, which is great. And so I think there's an opportunity to really kind of like dig deep. And I think that comes with time. Like I'm a huge advocate of the idea that just because movies have gotten easier to make, you shouldn't like churn them out. This is something that took 2 years, and like that was like the way that we were able to like get with Elvet, and we were able to actually get with characters and tell their stories and track real-time plots. As you know, in the movie, there's like real-time situations that happen that we experience, with Hector, for example, and Miguel. And, it's like his getting his citizenship and Miguel getting deported, those things. So it's like you just sort of have to like live with it, and then that's the way to really understand people, I think.
What's your opinion on ICE? Should it be a thing? Should the border be decriminalized? What do you think? We're talking specifically about the veterans, but more broadly, what do you think about those issues?
It's tough for me to like throw myself in the ring, especially with regards to talking about the movie, because I think the movie is more important to me for people to, it's like I have my political leanings and I have my opinions, but I think that with regards to like that specific question, it's like it's confusing and it's complicated, and I think that the way that it's being handled right now it's not okay. It's not okay what's happening right now, because it's kind of dehumanizing people, and it's making this thing kind of like an idea rather than like thinking about it as like, well, these are people, these are things that are happening. So, I don't have like a big sweeping policy statement to make on that stuff, but I definitely feel as though on the human level, there's more elegant and more appropriate ways to be dealing with this stuff.
Okay. Was this project always attached with Showtime?
It wasn't always attached with Showtime. It was something that I'd been shooting for a while. I think probably because of the nature of the project, there wasn't a lot of people that were going to like authorize me to go to Juarez and spend months in Juarez with the cartel. And so I think that there was like an element of feeling as though I needed to go out there and dig on my own and with my producer and with another company that was kind of financing it and helping us. And then we took it to Showtime, and that's when we started that partnership.
Okay. And were you afraid during that period of time? That must have been legitimately scary.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you get like, I got a little bit more used to it over time, but then there's like isolated circumstances that make you scared. I mean, I had a bag over my head for 3 hours driving to one location. I thought for sure that like, because they didn't give me an idea of the amount of time that the bag would be over my head, and so I was like, I for sure went too far. Yeah, like I took this too far. So that was a tough one.
I can't imagine what was running through your mind in that 3 hours.
3 hours is a lot to run through. You don't see anything, and you're just kind of thinking to yourself like, shit. And like I had my camera guy with me, and I was like, I like put his life in jeopardy. It was a tough one. Tough 3 hours.
I can see like 20 minutes. Like, okay, maybe this is like
that was the thing is that I was like,
and then it's like what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. And no one's talking to you, no one's telling you. So.
Okay, well, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's a very important piece of work.
Thanks.
And I appreciate you educating us on this specific piece of business. How are you going to continue this fight once this movie is out?
Well, you just hope that this kind of movie and it cuts through in some regard and people talk about it, because right now the news cycle, as you know, is fickle and it's like quick and it's very hard to kind of cut through anything. And I'm just hoping that this cuts through, because it is an issue that I think has importance and that people can like get behind, and it feels like something that most people don't even know about. So like, why not know about this, and why not think about this and think about humans and the immigration conversation in different terms when you hear something like this?
Yeah, like I don't know how you can be considered more of an American if you've done a tour of duty. Okay. Exactly. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.